What's up, everyone? Elmi here, and best time of the year is finally here, Christmas time. So I figured we would start things off with holiday horror, and which is why I'm teaming up once again with my good friend Nick Mulae and a fellow horror fan. And there have been a lot of Christmas horror films, some good, some bad. Like plenty of good ones that I remember are Gremlins and Black Christmas.
Yeah, the original.
No, not the remix. No.
Just want to make that clear.
But I feel like we should start this off with something that's pretty bad, because I feel like we've reviewed quite a few good films, and I think a bad movie review is long overdue. So, which is why I decided that we should review the 1997 straight-to-video horror film, Jack Frost. The premise is a serial killer who is finally captured and transferred to a prison, and en route crashes into a vehicle carrying a genetic acid that dissolves him into the snow, and he becomes a killer snowman. And it just so happens this killer's name is Jack Frost. So yeah, a killer snowman named Jack Frost, and wants to take revenge on the sheriff who had captured him. Yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. But hey, if you still don't want to take our word for it, why don't we just dive right into the film and show you. Let's take a good look at Jack Frost. So the film starts off with opening credits taking place on a Christmas tree, and the credits are shown on ornaments, which would sound pretty unique, right? But they just had to ruin it with one thing. A voiceover of an uncle telling his niece the story of Jack Frost's killing spree and capture. And the niece's voice, it was clearly done by an adult, and I just gotta say, it just comes off as incredibly fake and is just pretty annoying to listen to.
It's ear-shattering.
You want a happy story, or do you want a scary story?
I want a happy, scary story.
Happy, scary story.
Yeah.
And what may surprise you during these opening credits is seeing the name Shannon Elizabeth, pre-American Pie Shannon Elizabeth. This was probably about, I want to say 3 years, maybe I think 2 or 3 years before American Pie.
Yeah, since it was filmed in '96, so at least, around that time.
Around that time, yeah. And this was her feature film debut. Yeah, this is such a great film to start off your career with, the movie about a killer snowman.
Especially at only 23 years old. She was only 23 at that time. She was young back then.
She was young, yes. We cut to a scene where a prison transfer truck, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't actually label on the side.
Who even does that?
Nobody. And this prison truck is delivering none other than Jack Frost to his execution. As they're delivering him, they are driving through a snowstorm and driving through the town he was captured in. What is the name of that town?
Hey, Jack. We just crossed the Snowmanton County line.
Snowmanton
What better name could you come up with for a winter town?
Snowmanton. Oh. And as they were driving through that blizzard, they hear a scuffle in the back, and when they ask if everything's fine, Jack Frost tells them that everything's okay.
Everything okay back there, Harv?
Oh, you're doing fine.
Whew.
Real fine.
Yeah, you hear a scuffle between a guard and a serial killer, and you're just going to take the killer's word that everything's alright. Unbelievable. And so Jack was able to kill the prison guard that was with him in the back, despite being handcuffed, and is somehow able to get him on the ground and choke him. I think either choking him or break his neck by using his foot.
I think he was choking him.
He stomped on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he choked on him first and then broke his neck, because you see him do like this, basically.
Yeah. They come across a truck that's carrying genetic acid. Seriously, I feel like half of this stuff that the film introduces is not even remotely plausible.
And when you look at the car crash that occurs, you obviously see is what I would say probably the fakest looking car crash I've ever seen, in my opinion, because they get so close, and once they hit, you hear this ding.
It's got to be the fakest car crash that's ever been depicted in film.
I can't think of any other movie that does something like that.
It doesn't even show the vehicles flipping, it shows people rolling. Like, really, that's their idea of a car crash.
Wow, so that's got to be the raw reality of a car crash. Oh, God.
And so only one of the guards is still alive and has a, what was that called?
A Christmas garland.
A Christmas garland around his neck. for some reason, he doesn't take that off of himself and comes across Jack, who is somehow able to get out of those handcuffs.
Looks like deep-fried Jack's off the menu for tonight, huh? Jesus.
Oh, and remember that genetic acid tank? It explodes, and Jack recites the very thing that I was thinking right before I hit the play button for this movie.
This is gonna hurt.
And so Jack is sprayed with the genetic acid, and he slowly starts to dissolve, and then we get this terrible animation of his blood cells sinking with the snow.
Yeah, like turning into like basically snow blood cells. Let's put it that way.
Yes. And we see what looks like something buried in the snow moving slightly around, struggling, and then the security guard now finally pulls his gun. Anyway, so the sheriff of the town Snowmanton, Sam Tyler, is driving home with his wife Annie and his son Ryan. We then cut to a flashback which reveals that this sheriff is responsible for the capture of Jack Frost. And of course we then cut to when Jack Frost is led out of courthouse.
That's right, Sheriff. You take a good long look at this face. The next time you see it, it's gonna tear your world apart. I'll find a way.
When Sam is driving past the accident, it shows the FBI questioning the one survivor guard, who is still having that garland on his neck.
He's just too festive, even during the worst of times such as this.
'Tis the season. So the very next day, Ryan is busy in the kitchen making these oats for his dad. And what did those oats look like to you?
Oh God, it looked like a mix between dog food and chili and marshmallows, of course. I mean, that just looked disgusting. And whatever else ingredients were in it, oh God, I don't even want to know.
Yeah, but believe me, we will be getting back to those oats later. Stick around, you'll see. And so we then cut to Snowmanton's snowman building competition. See, is everything in this town have to have the name word snowman in it? Seriously, the founder of the town, I wouldn't be surprised if his last name was Snowman. Really, I mean, it could have.
You got a point.
With this movie, I would assume anything. And we finally get to the star of this film, pre-American Pie Shannon Elizabeth, in her feature film debut. She plays a girl named Jill, and her parents are working on a secret snowman for the competition. And some of these snowmen, they would not even look like they were made from actual snow. Even though this film is supposed to be set in winter, you hardly see that much snow on the ground in some scenes.
There's not even snow on the roofs.
No, I've noticed that too.
I mean, when you think of winter, you would think of snow on the roofs, covering parts of the trees. It'd be everywhere. You barely see anything.
Yeah, I've been through more than enough snowstorms in my life to actually see know what an aftermath of snow is. There's snow literally everywhere. On the roofs, on cars, on the sidewalk, on the road, all kinds of places. And seriously, that's what makes the winter completely unrealistic in this film.
Where was Frozen when you needed it?
Not for a long time. We are then met by Jill's boyfriend Tommy, who is introducing some pretty bad jokes.
What's the difference between snowmen and snowwomen? No, really, what's the difference?
I'll see you, Tommy.
It's snowballs.
Yeah, get used to these bad jokes. This is not the last one.
Yep.
We then cut to a scene where Sam and his cop buddies come across a dead body that looks like his neck has been snapped back and there's icicles on his face. Honestly, I've seen more realistic props in a Spirit of Halloween store.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like something you would be adding in a haunted house walkthrough more than anything. I mean, it just did not look that realistic, in my opinion.
The majority of the things in this film are unrealistic. So Sam goes to his vehicle and radios the FBI to ask if Jack Frost is really dead from that accident. An agent named Manners, yes, you heard that correctly, Agent Manners, confirms that Jack is dead, but that turns out to be far from true. Sam then consults the town doctor about how the man was murdered.
I would say something soft was held in place to disperse the pressure, like a mitten or a large glove.
Really? Okay, I guess we better be on the lookout for this guy then. So as Ryan keeps inventing some terrible baking recipes, Annie comes in to tell him about the snowman that had mysteriously appeared outside. So she brings him that, whoa, seriously, where did she get those carrots from? So Ryan goes out and applies the coal for the eyes, carrot nose, and does this all by following I can't believe this. He's following what looks like a mitt of a snowman. Seriously, you have to use a guide to build a snowman?
It's like the easiest thing you could build. I mean, you don't need... I mean, why do you need something to build a snowman? I mean, hey, once again, like I said, you could have listened to that song from Frozen. Do you want to build a snowman?
Oh, yeah, let's keep the Frozen jokes to a minimum here.
I had to get that out of me. That was the one I had to say.
And that's when the town bullies, led by Billy, who is the younger brother of Jill, Shannon Elizabeth's character, knocks over the snowman, and gotta say, I don't think the snowman is too happy about that. They can't even edit a murder scene properly. Seriously, how is he at the bottom of the hill?
I mean, like
he was like right there where the kid started, and then one shove, and he's suddenly at the bottom of the hill. Does Jack Frost suddenly have like the ability to teleport people when he swipes at them?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. I mean, I don't even know how that even explains that scene out of anything.
No. And the blood doesn't even look... It looks like somebody just spilled some Hawaiian punch, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's bright red. I mean, and I just don't understand why they want to bury the blood in the snow. It just doesn't make any sense. That's like hiding a crime scene.
Yeah, this is a fresh murder scene. And seriously, like, these cops and investigators are terrible at their jobs in this movie. And so Billy's family blames Ryan for Billy's death, but Sam doubts it and shares his condolences with the family, but none of them, not even Shannon Elizabeth, is having it. Okay, wait a minute. Who just picked up that snowman's head?
And moving it towards this direction, like trying to scare somebody, like, what the hell? Like, I don't even have words to even, I can't, there's literally nothing I could say.
Nor I. Moving on. We then cut later to Billy's family, who is mourning over his death, and then Jake becomes pretty furious about Jill heading out, going to see Tommy.
Your lord forsook this house long ago. I'm going to see Tommy.
Seriously, she is hands down the best performer in this film. And this is her feature film debut.
The only good thing about this movie, that's pretty much it. That's all I could really think of.
Ain't that the truth? So Jake heads outside to smoke his pipe, but then the snowman appears outside. Like, really? He doesn't even want to question that?
Say, pal, how about a smoke? Who's that? Who's that?
Okay. Seriously. Honestly. You seriously cannot tell that the voice that is taunting you is coming right in front of you where the snowman is?
You're like completely ignoring the fact that it's talking to you. Like, oh, I'll look all these directions. I'll just ignore this mysterious snowman that appeared out of nowhere.
And so Jake arms himself with an axe, and then Jack lifts the axe from him and then shoves it straight down his throat.
Gosh, I only asked you for a smoke.
Really? That's the best joke you can come up with? That's one of the oldest ones in the book.
Yeah. Even in the 90s, that was still old. Wait, hold on a sec, go back.
I only asked you for a smoke.
Why is he breathing? Honestly, is anybody in charge on set, looking at, really nobody notices any of that? Really, I've worked with people who played dead bodies in movies. Even they will know, when the camera's rolling, when to not breathe, not to stay perfectly still. That's the whole point, playing a dead body. And he couldn't even hold his breath for a few seconds. So Jack proceeds to enter the house and do away with Sally by smashing her face in ornaments and then hanging her up on the Christmas tree. Oh, and also, that music... Why are they playing SpongeBob music? That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like something out of SpongeBob, that music. I mean... that doesn't even fit the element to that scene.
It doesn't fit the mood, it doesn't fit the tone, it's just out of place. Seriously, some of the music in this film seems pretty out of place. That's another complaint that I have.
I mean, I get it that it's set around Christmas, but even still, the music just does not add up to particular scenes such as that.
It does not. And of course, Jack finishes things up by stealing Jake's scarf.
always remember to dress up warm.
So Agent Manners and an eccentric scientist named Stone step in to discover that Jack has the ability to freeze and unfreeze himself into the water, which is how he was able to get past the locked door of the house, by melting and traveling underneath the locked door to kill Sally inside the house. And one of the deputies is now driving down the road and notices something odd in the middle of the road.
Where the hell did he even get that stop sign from?
Oh, and also the height difference in this shot makes Jack look even less intimidating than he was before.
I mean, the guy towers over the snowman. It's like, you might as well knock his head off.
Very true. So Jack then melts and then reforms inside the deputy's car and then runs him over. And so back at Sam's house, Annie notices that water is leaking from the cabinet. You know what that means, don't you? A pipe burst. So you stop a pipe burst with your hat and then just put the hat back on your head?
And especially when it's supposed to be freezing outside. I mean...
Doesn't sound wise.
So the deputy and Anne leaves the house to meet up with Sam in town hall.
And after they leave, Jill and her boyfriend Tommy break into the house to spend some time together. I'm guessing Jill is doing this out of spite because she thinks that their son Ryan killed her brother. I mean...
That's like completely unrelated to what's going on. And for them to spend some time together, I gotta put this out. How many layers of clothes were they wearing? Because it took like 2 minutes for them to take everything off. It's like, you'd see them take off one sweater and then all of a sudden there's another one. Like, Jesus Christ!
Are they like, seriously, they wore enough flares to probably survive the Antarctic.
I mean, it's almost like they're Eskimo wannabes.
And once again, we are shown terrible music through that whole sequence.
Yeah, and we're talking about music that doesn't even set the mood or scene at all.
Yeah, everything about this movie is bad. The effects, the editing, and now music that doesn't even set the mood.
Yeah, I mean... They really had a bad choice of whatever they were trying to think of, for particular scenes. Like, oh God, I would have walked out of the set at that point.
Oh yeah, you and me, bro. And so Jill goes upstairs to blow dry her hair. Seriously, her hair was already dry.
What's the point of...
Yeah, I mean, I do really realize, it's winter, snow gets in your hair, but it doesn't cause your hair to get that wet, does it?
Unless, it's a major blizzard, which clearly you see it was not.
No.
Oh my God, I mean, there's no need to do so.
No, absolutely no need. Making that scene completely pointless. There was no reason to have that.
How much more of this can we take?
I know. Watching this movie can seem like a bit of a chore at times.
Yep.
And so Tommy goes ahead and raids them of their wine, which looks more like it's champagne, and wants to go get some ice to cool it off, but all that's left is the freezer is this massive ice buildup. Seriously, when was the last time you cleaned out your freezer to the point where you actually have that much buildup?
Especially during the middle of winter?
Yeah. And okay, is he seriously putting that buildup from the freezer to cool his drink?
Oh God, that is gross.
Disgusting.
Absolutely. That's the last thing you would ever do to get ice.
Unsanitary.
Very unsanitary and unhealthy.
Unhealthy, too. You get yourself sick doing that.
Huh? Sheriff Tyler? Look, I'm not a burglar.
Yeah, I swear, Sheriff, I'm not a burglar. I mean, I did come into your house uninvited while no one was home and then help myself to your liquor cabinet, but that doesn't technically mean I'm a burglar, right? Right? And so, as Tommy is investigating the noise outside, Jack punches him and then delivers another one-liner.
Well, it ain't f***ing Frosty.
And so, as Jack Frost is advancing towards Tommy, he has his arms lifted up. From the point of view, it looks like his arms, seriously, even a zombie closing in on somebody wouldn't raise their arms that high.
Yeah, and his arms aren't even that long. I don't think he'd be able to reach that far.
And so, Jack Frost can now shoot projectile icicles.
Well, what do you know? Armed and dangerous.
Yeah, projectile icicles.
Which is the only realistic killing, I think, in my opinion, in the entire movie. That was like the only one that I actually really enjoyed.
So after Jill finishes blow drying her already dry hair, she notices a bath being set for her, and so she takes a bath and then notices the water starting to get cold. Very, very cold.
Oh, it's freezing!
So then Jack freezes her to his body and then lightly bashes her head against the wall. And so Jack kills Jill, and I can't believe I'm actually saying that when I think of the phrase Jack and Jill.
I didn't even think about that.
And pulls the shower curtain down with her, and as I feel like as her body lands, this scene just reminds me of this one film that I'd much rather watch than this. So Jack then shows up at the police station, finally confronting Sam, and proceeds to spew a few more bad one-liners.
Made in America.
Do the writers even think before they write?
They're just too much. Just put it that way.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. So Agent Manners finally reveals that the snowman is in fact
Jack Frost.
No, Jack Frost died. Jack Frost changed.
And so water starts coming underneath the door, which is clearly being done with a hose.
I mean, you could see the shadow underneath the door.
Yeah, like... See, now you can understand why I can hardly take this movie seriously at all.
Right, stand clear.
Really? Shooting water? The ridiculousness of this film knows no bounds. So Jack forms up again, and then Sam begins to hold him off with a hairdryer. How very convenient. I mean, who keeps a hairdryer in an office? So they plan to blow up the building by spraying aerosol, and as they try to escape through the window, they discover it's locked, and Sam was stupid enough to leave his keys inside the door on the other end of the hallway.
Come on.
Just grab them! You're gonna drop the keys? How overdramatic could this possibly get?
Those are huge. There's a huge ring of the keys. You can just grab the keys and get the hell out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Which is then what he proceeds to do until Jack grabs him. I mean, how is Jack even able to grab people? Like, he's a snowman. He doesn't even have any fingers.
Yeah, I mean, they're more like mitten hands.
It's just like mitten hands, like...
Oh, like... Okay, this is as close as I can get.
Yeah, close as you can get, like that. So they manage to get out and trap Jack inside the station. You can tell this movie has such a great budget when it doesn't even show the actual building blowing up. Oh, and of course, Jack survives this.
What could have survived that?
Look, Ma! I'm a Picasso!
Agent Stone finally reveals how Jack became a snowman. It turns out that Stone created this genetic acid that fuses DNA into natural elements, and when Jack was hit with this acid, he manifested into the snow. So Jack resurfaces again as a rolling snowball and then reforms into the snowman again.
Hey, Jack! You left the 7-10 split.
And is then melted by all the townspeople with blow dryers, and so how long are those extension cords?
Yeah, especially considering that this was back in 1996, 97, and as far as I know, hair dryers, or at least their cords, were not that long compared to now. And where would the extension cords be when you're in the event of emergency like that? I mean, hell, you're not going to have enough time to plug all those in.
Yeah, very convenient how they just happen to have exactly what they need whenever they're fighting off Jack Frost. Cans of aerosol, check. Extension cords, check. A hairdryer in an office, check.
Oh my god.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So anyway, they proceed to hurt Jack and lure him with the hairdryers right into the furnace where he proceeds to melt away. So it's all over, right? Wrong. So Jack reforms up again from the condensation from the furnace and then grows icicle fangs and bites Manners' face off.
Frostbite. Next time we'll use mistletoe.
He then possesses Stone's body and gives up right after slowly walking outside, and then emerges as a stream of whipped cream.
Or shaving cream. It could be either one.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. Seriously, these effects are horrible.
I mean, it literally looked like as if he ate shaving or whipping cream and was throwing it up.
Oh, yeah.
It just... I don't...
And so Jack reforms again and delivers another one-liner.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Another one that doesn't really make too much sense.
Exactly. So Sam and Ryan get in the car, and then Jack melts and begins entering the car, where he forms up and freezes the car locks. And so Sam breaks out the window so that he and Ryan can escape. And before Sam gets out of the car, he grabs the... What was it? The oats? Yeah, the oats that... Yeah, if you'd even call it oats. The oats that Ryan made him earlier that day, and then shoves it into Jack's face. And this causes Jack to burn up. It turns out that there was a secret ingredient inside those oats, and, hey, Ryan, what was it?
I didn't want you to get cold.
Honey, what did you put in the oats?
Anti-freeze.
Yay, we finally found a way to kill Jack Frost. I'm so excited, it completely makes me overlook the fact that my idiot son nearly poisoned me to death.
That was already a weapon to begin with. Like, oh, and I'm telling everyone this right now, never, ever consume antifreeze. That's like a death sentence for you.
Don't even use any kind of car chemicals when you're baking things. Tell him why, Gordon Ramsay.
You kill someone!
There you go.
He's got a point. I mean, come on. What is wrong with people? Why would you do such a thing?
And so Sam sends his friend Paul to go and get more antifreeze. Sam locks himself inside of a hotel, and Jack begins to, what do you know, melt to get under the door.
Okay, paper? You seriously think paper is going to slow it down?
Do I even need to explain the stupidity of that?
I mean, paper gets saturated very easily when it comes into contact with water, or in this case, snow and ice.
And just as Jack is cornering Sam, Paul arrives right outside with his truck full of antifreeze. So Sam pulls Jack right out the window, and then it brings him right down into that truck bed full of antifreeze. Seriously, like, I mean, you thought that eating it is bad? Try swimming in it, where it gets into all kinds of orifices. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're supposed to be exposed to antifreeze like that. I mean, that's once again very poisonous, like, to any part. I mean, yeah, that should be the moment we were supposed to be contacting Poison Control Center.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. So Jack begins to dissolve inside the antifreeze, except for the arm that Ryan picks up.
No, Ryan!
Why would you even pick that arm up?
You at least could have thrown it.
So as the arm is attacking Ryan, Sam picks up Ryan and then brings him into the antifreeze, dissolving the arm, and I swear, in this scene, it just looks like he's baptizing him in the antifreeze.
I shall cleanse you in the name of our Lord in this holy antifreeze. Amen.
And so the next day, the townspeople pour the antifreeze that killed Jack into jars and bury them. But it turns out this is not the end of Jack. So yeah, we've now gone from serial killer to serial killer snowman to serial killer car chemicals.
I am so lost.
Oh yes, so am I. So now, you can clearly understand that Jack Frost is a movie that is not meant to be taken seriously. I mean, the premise is a joke, the effects are god-awful, the characters are all a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, I mean, like... What else can you say that's so bad about the film? I mean, it's pretty much everything you can kind of think of.
Yeah, so, how do we sum this up? If you're looking for probably the most ridiculous horror comedy film for Christmas time, look no further than Jack Frost.
And let's also be clear, this is not the one that most people remember, the 1998
Micheal Keaton film.
Micheal Keaton film. This is one that was made 2 years before that one came out.
Yeah, thinking about that, it really makes me wonder, back in the days of Blockbuster, like how many parents wanted to get the Jack Frost with Micheal Keaton in it and accidentally got this film.
Or if you had hardcore horror film fans that were trying to get that one, but instead got the Micheal Keaton film.
Yeah. There's that, and I also wonder how many kids were traumatized by watching the wrong one.
Oh boy, I'm sure they would never. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I'm sure they still would. Regardless, I'm sure they probably would never look at a snowman ever the same way again after watching that.
Oh yeah. As you could probably tell, not a fan of this film.
Nope, not me either. I'm
Nope.
good.
And so, Jack Frost, I will give it a rating of 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely not one of the worst films of all time, but it's pretty bad. And hard to believe that there was actually a sequel to this that came out in the year 2000 called Jack Frost 2: Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I just also found out about 4 years ago, now they're trying to make a third one to just basically complete the trilogy. They basically want to make Jackzilla.
Like a kaiju.
A kaiju, rampaging through cities. I don't know if it's going to be Snowmunton, but the point
I
is...
can never get over how stupid that name is.
I know, it's hard to even say the name. I mean, it's like... Yeah, so they basically want to make kaiju size.
Yeah.
I mean... Oh, God, I can't even... I can only picture him in a city, but I don't even know what else he would do.
I can't even stand the mental image of it.
Yep.
So, hope you guys enjoyed this review of this hilariously bad film. And if you guys enjoyed, hit that like button if you did. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. And happy holidays. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.